All right, all right. Welcome, everyone. I'm still not visible because I'm firing up everything. I just came home a little bit late. Windows is every day slower at running the WSL, but we'll do it. We're gonna make it. So, Docker desktop. I mean, I could change the scene. I could change the scene right now. Let's see. Here we are. And we can go here. And you can see me now. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Today we are gonna fix what we found was the problem in the last stream. The situation is that I once implemented a workaround to the fact that PHP allows you to to receive post requests with the binary data in them, meaning that the post request will be of multi-part form data as a type, and automatically it gives you the chance to extract the data from the files superglobal, which is not the case when you post the same kind of content with a put request. Let me check if the volume here is okay. Yeah, it should be. What I was saying is that the put request will not let you have all the files automatically parsed in the superglobal. So you either surrender and use the post instead of the put, even if you wanted to use the put, because I mean, I'm uploading an image for the first time. So what's happening in the state in my backend is that something is getting created, because I keep track on the database of the files that have been uploaded, their original name. Let me show you, because I think an image is worth 1,000 words. So SQL tables, yeah, should be file. Here you can see I can save the original file name in the table, and then 20 characters long file name which I generate, which cannot collide with other files, and which should also be difficult to guess, but that's not important at the moment because you're not able to request those files. Okay, those are just saved for internal use, because you're uploading images that we will use to print on the product we're selling. So just to be clear, let's start the container so I can show you. No, it's not here, it's here. Docker compose up. The guy is gonna pop up, and we can just create a new tab and drag it here and go to localhost/index. That's the website shop. So this is the kind of product. You can see that there's a print here on the front of the base. So if we choose a thick base, we can ask to print on the front something, and we have this button to upload an image that we asked as customers to be printed on the product we are buying. It will be custom, as in customer. And This upload, when here it says no image, creates a record in this table. Where is it? Here. In this table file. The original file name of my file, just because, you know, if I have to display the file name to the user recognizes it with the name the user gave to the image. But for our convenience on the back end, we are just giving a totally random set of characters, a string of characters, as the name of the file, and it must be unique. So that's the file name here. Also, we store some metadata here because it may come handy in the future. But of course, here we are just saving data about the file. The file is being stored in some folder on the back end. When we want to update, replace an image we already uploaded, we're not going to create another record and delete the first one. We're gonna change the data in the first record and still use the same file name and replace the file. So it's a move, mv command, move command in Unix terms. This calls for a put method, because if you do post I mean, I can show you this from here. Post method, semantics here. Look at this. It says the post method sends data to the server. The type of the body of the request is indicated as by the content type header. The difference between put and post is that put is idempotent. Calling it once is no different from calling it several times successively. There are no side effects. Successive identical post requests may have additional effects, such as creating the same order several times. So if I'm putting, I'm asking that if I do it again, with the exact same data, the state of the application is not gonna change, which means it's exactly right that nothing gets created. We first post an image because there was no image, and now there is an image, so we changed the state of the application. We created a record that wasn't there before, and we created a file in the file system that was not there before. After that, if we want to use the same spot, meaning the same record and the same file in the file system, and replace it with some new information, so a new file with a new original file name, which means the file name from the origin system, the system from which I'm uploading the file, then we should use put. The problem is, as I told you, that this guy here, underscore files, which is a super global variable in PHP, which means that you get it out of the thin air in every script you're writing, just because it's the PHP interpreter that accepts that you call it and will fill it according to some rules that we are gonna discuss now. This thing here is filled just in case of a post request. So if you send a post request, like I can do here now, let's see. Network, this guy here, load image, and let's just load this JPEG here, about.jpg. Yeah, I left the system in a bad shape last time, but only cared about the kind of request. Look at it. Don't mind the left side of the screen, just mind the right side of the screen. I think it's a little bit small, but let's see if I can no, okay. So the guys that are if you're watching this from a mobile phone, you will have a hard time, I'm sorry, unless you get 180p and very good eyes. But nevertheless, the request URL is not important here. What's important is that if I go and check the headers of my request, we can see that well, more than the headers, the first line of the request says that the request method is post. The status code is 200 because for some reason my server responded to 100, like it was fine. It's not fine, man. Look at here. But whatever. The content type, and that's the one of the headers, says multipart form data and also instructs us about the boundary that's being used to be able to parse the response and say, okay, the response starts here. The data, the actual binary data that we're posting starts here and ends here. And in fact, if we go and check the payload starts with this boundary here, which is the same we saw in headers. We have some internal headers, some headers that are set in the body, and then there is an empty line here. Is not rendered properly, but you can trust me, there is an empty line and then a stream of bits, of bytes that represent the image. They are the content of the image file. So if I'm able to extract just the binary data before the last here, how you call it, boundary string, I have the file, server side. I can just put it actually in a file and then do what I want with it. PHP is so gracious that it already does this parsing for us, puts the file in puts the content, the binary data in a file in the TMP folder of our server, and allows us to handle that file from the files super global. Even more than one file if we load more than one file at one time, which is totally possible because we can have more than one boundary. Sorry guys, I'm always tired these days. What happens when you do the same thing but use put instead of post? That the parsing does not happen, zero parsing, so the data is in the input stream, which is this guy here. It's represented by this guy here. This is a sequence of characters that you use to inside more than a couple functions in PHP to access input-output streams, which are a concept that belongs to the operating system level, actually. So you can access the input stream of the PHP process, so the data that are passed to the process as an input stream, and then in that input stream you will find all the binary data, all the the entire content of the post body, the put request body. Okay. What was I telling you? That you have to manually take the data out from the stream, separate the binary data from all the rest of the craft, put it in a file in the file system, and fill with the same data you'd expect in this file super global from by yourself. You have to do it by yourself. Okay, it's not automatic anymore. If you want to still use the file superglobal, which I want to do because it's just less of a burden. If you have to learn how the file superglobal works and how it's organized inside, because you want to use it, because that's how PHP works, then there's no reason to add just another API, even if I could make it better. Oh, Max, hello, welcome. So there's no reason to create another API and have to memorize another API or refer to another API, which by the way is not documented. I should write all the documentation. So it's better to say, okay, I will struggle maybe, but I'll go down the route that files has to work the same way it does with post, also with put. All of this I already did some times ago, but in the last stream I found out that it doesn't work quite properly, because there was this kind of limit that you can set in the PHP initial configuration file that says how big a file can be when you're uploading it, so the server will reject everything that's above that threshold. And that works for posts. Of course, there's no support for put explicitly, but actually the same limit works for puts the very same way. What was the problem? I was accessing the stream of data this way here. I can show you. Include. No, it's not in include. It's in preprocessor, which is a gizmo. Just a quick hello. I go back to my stuff. Okay, thanks for passing by, and have a good how to say, evening with your stuff, and try to rest a bit, because it's a long weekend in front of us. Very long weekend, 3 days. Take advantage of it. And we will see each other soon. Also, where was I? Here you can see that I'm doing something. I'm saying that if the server request, this function here is called at every script start virtually. I mean, it's boilerplate code, the call to this function. So what I do is check the request method. If the request method is put, I extract the headers from the request method using PHP functions here. And if the content type is known, I check if the content type is multipart form data. If it's multipart form data, I call this function here, multipart form data get, which is something I implemented, which is here. Yeah, maybe if I write things correctly. Here, get. So here you can see that what I call is fopen. Maybe let me zoom in a bit, because it's a little bit small. I use this function fopen to open the stream in a read mode, and then I get line by line the data and try to understand what I'm looking at, because if a line starts with 2 dashes, it's a boundary. If it's a line, if there's some state, it's kind of a state machine, this parser here. If a line is a new line, it means I am in the one line I told you before that's empty and separates the headers from a part from the binary data, so I know I'm on the verge of parsing the binary data in that moment. What we found is that if the file is bigger than the usual post size, which is 8 megabytes, even if I told the system that I want to be able to parse up to 16 megabytes, to upload up to 16 megabytes, this thing kind of crashes. It's as if the stream was truncated. I'm not 100% sure that's exactly what's happening, because I didn't open the file in a way that I can find the string inside the file. So like convert the okay, maybe I could do that. Let's see for a second. Open the image file as if it was ASCII. So let the editor's encoder do its job, and we will have a lot of gibberish, but I can check for specific how do you call them, sequences of characters. So I could do something like this, and HTTP doc. Let's see if this naive approach works. There's about mob. I don't remember the name of the file actually. So let me just go in the file system. Oh god, the lagging starts. Is the file system though? Then I'm having this kind of stuttering on the mouse. The system is kind of struggling in the last few days, a couple days more or less, and I don't understand what is it. But now that I started the file system, the system has started to struggle. I should clean things up a little bit. But HTTP docs, image. It's about mobile.jpg. So let's dock this here and say we want to open about mobile.jpg. Yes, here it is. Let's say it won't be easy. It won't be that easy. Let's say we uploaded. So I have to start this kind of utility I wrote. Scripts. Start logger server. Okay, it's going. It's working. It's listening for any request, and you can see that from the last time we have some log debug calls here. Log debug is a function, a very global function I created just to allow myself to have kind of console behavior for PHP, because PHP, when you echo something or you var dump something, if your output buffer is directly wired to the output stream, it will just pump the data out in the output stream, which goes into the response, and we don't want that. We want to be able to log something to a console. So logdebug just calls a local process here on my computer, which is listening, which is this one, okay, and the process will just print whatever on the console. So here you go. Here you got what you can do in whatever other language that runs on the on a desktop computer, or in JavaScript for that matter. So we want to go here on the. I mean, wait a sec. I want to see why the other request failed. If there is something I did that was wrong. I mean, I commented that, so I'm really not sure. Okay, this was just the log debug function calling and finding no one. So if we do it again, it will work perfectly. Look at this. Yeah, no problem. Let's say we want to enter this function here, so we have to put instead of posting. So we will go here and put. And this file, I'm particularly inclined to send it because as you can see, it's 9.7 megabytes. So if it's more than 8 megabytes, it's already passing the threshold that the system usually has, the PHP system, I mean. So let's pick this, and he will break terribly. And if you go and check the response, which by the way it's 200, I don't understand why. Here everything looks perfectly fine, perfectly kosher, some would say. But here you can see that the server printed the first header line, which is this one, content disposition form data, blah blah blah. Then the second one, then it recognized the new line came, which is fine because there is a new line, and then the binary data starts. I don't print any of the binary data because the binary data is particularly prone to fill the console and slow everything down. We had a kind of funny moment a couple streams ago where Windows was like ding, 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 molesting my ear because data was too long. And then it prints this, which should not happen, because if I do the same and load a smaller image, I mean, I'm stupid, I just loaded about.jpg again, but let's do it with this one, which is the same but scaled down. You can see that nothing like this gets printed, which actually is curious because let me check at the log debug calls that we have here. New line, and that's it. So I really don't know why that thing reaches this place here. I mean, this thing reaches the console. Just with About Mobile, because with About and About Mobile 2, it didn't happen. We could actually do something better and say, let's check, let's investigate the moment when it decides it's over, that the stream is finished. The last line, reading part body, it's reading the body. Notice that I went with a very eager route. I'm not handling multi-part mixed, I'm just handling multi-part form data. Very not eager. How do you call those algorithms? Greedy. I'm smelling coffee. Am I smelling coffee? Yes. I'm very happy about that. Which coffee is that? The regular one or the one with the... Oh, the regular, okay. Which... No, I think it makes me happy, but for some reason my nose decided it wasn't the regular one. Reading part headers, reading... Look at this, we can add some log debug call here. One little spoon of sugar and oh, maybe I want it black. No sugar, no milk. Yeah, let's go hard on that. Here, boundary. Perfect. Thank you very much. Java for me. I want to stay away from Java, the programming language, but the juice here is fine. Let's print the boundary then. Line. And let's try that again. Let's see what happens. This is very peculiar because it printed the boundary on. Oh, wait, has it finished? Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Sorry, I uploaded the small one, and in fact, you see, it's kind of. This is what gets me. I don't understand where this thing comes from, and I'm just saying I will check for another log debug around the code base just in case, because better be sure there's no one around and I'm not printing something I didn't expect, because looking at the calls we have in the preprocessor file, there should be no printout there, and also it's kind of on a new line. It kind of goes on a new line and then on a new line, and then it prints that gibberish ASCII characters or whatever. So let's say we want to know where log debug lives, and we don't want to see anything pertaining the .git folder. So exclude folder directory. Let's be professional here. It's in file, it's in display case, passing here, it's in multi-part form data, and that's it. So okay, I mean, new line must print new line only, but boundary and line are allowed to print new lines, actually, if they're not carriage return a new line but just new line. It could happen, because if they are carriage return a new line, they should be intercepted by the if that we saw before. So here you can see that this, oh, actually not true. Let me add a check here. I say if contains, I should yeah, we are on PHP 8, so we have this function, because on PHP 7 you should go with string pose, string position, strpos, and check if the position is not false, because if it's false it means it didn't find anything. If it's a number, it's the position where it found the substring. But because my brain is small and I can't remember the order of the parameters, even because PHP did nothing to have a consistency. Sometimes the haystack and the needle go this way, sometimes they're inverted, sometimes you just put another parameter before and then the haystack and the needle. So I always have to check, but not that bad actually. I mean, seriously, yeah, because this is not Google. Haystack before and needle after. So we put the string we are putting our hands in before, and then we say, let's say I found a carriage return. First we could check for a carriage return, and I mean like this, and also a new line. Then else if string contains line, just the new line, and then if it just contains the where did I go? Let me do this, the carriage return. Okay, so log debug found a lonely carriage return in the line. Let's be lazy and say found a lonely new line. Find a lonely, ugly Windows new line in the line, because carriage return plus, let's say, this way, because you never know. I usually find that they should present this way. Actually, better differentiate them, because this one is very uncommon, and also it shouldn't trigger another if by itself. So not even this one, for that matter. But you know, it's good to know if things are happening in a different way. More information, the more information, the better. Found a lonely, even uglier Windows new line, but inverted. This should give us some more information. Some more? Why did you... What? Why did you assume I wanted to do that? No, it's not him, it's him. Or it, actually. You have to know that in Italian we don't have the neutral pronoun. And so the default for everything is the male, masculine one. That's very good. Let's go with this one again and go check this. Interesting. So let's say I start here, because I want to be sure that I know where it starts. Boom. The boundary is the first thing he finds, and that's perfectly right. Then it finds a line, which, by the way, it's correct, has a new line. In fact, you can see that at the end of it, it goes down on a new line, and then it prints, so perfectly fine. Same goes with the content type image JPEG that goes on a new line. Perfect. Then it finds the new line by itself, and then you can see that it thinks it found a boundary. It's not the boundary we found at the beginning, and that could be maybe it's not what I think that's happening here. Maybe it's just that we have... It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen, because these two characters in a sequence should not be allowed to have... Oh, maybe I misunderstood how the... you see, being fresh and not working at night maybe helps in having less fog in your brain, and maybe you get some fresh ideas. So probably these two characters here alone do not indicate a boundary. We were just lucky it was working on other files. Here it happened because Murphy's law, that we have two dashes in a row, and my system incorrectly thinks that that's the end of the file and truncates it. But probably it's not. Probably it would just be sufficient to do this. When we start parsing and we find the first boundary, first of all, we could take the boundary out from the header of the request, because as I showed you before, here in the headers, there's this guy here, and we can parse the content type, so we might do just that. Even because that's not difficult to do at all. You can see here that we are looking for headers content type, and we might just pass here the content type and accept it on this other side of the API boundary and say content type. What I'm writing? Tylenol. What am I writing? Then we go and say, let's do it in the most stupid possible way. Then we will polish it. I don't care. I don't mind. We say, let's find the position of pause PHP haystack first, then needle. Okay, again. The haystack is content type, and the needle is what did I say it was? Boundary. I'm dyslexic when I'm streaming. That should be fine. Boundary. Oh well. Pause. Is there any other pause variable inside here? No, it's not. There's not. So we are fine like that. Then we say substring, substr. I don't remember. Yes, substr. I do remember. I'm just not sure. Substring of our content type guy here. The offset will be pause plus multibyte string length of boundary UTF-8, just to be sure. Is it? And we don't care about the length. So no, because that's the well, I'm not watching the let's see if this works. Yes, it works. MB strlen. I was remembering it perfectly right. So I have to go back to substring and close this guy. Offset length, I will let it be null so that we extract everything till the end of the string. And so here we have our boundary string. So here, instead of checking for this, we should check if the string is starting no, that's not right. There's something like string contains, string starts, begins. I don't remember. String starts with PHP. Starts with, okay. I should trust myself a little bit more. Starts with boundary. Boundary. We do this a lot, me and my wife, to swap two letters in a word and make it sound very stupid. Boundary. So my watch is reminding me that I'm a fat ass programmer and I should stand up. Next time, Mr. Watch. it might work in this way. I'm pretty... And look what it says. It says that if stars... well, this must go. If we are reading the body, we stop reading the body. And if the line ends with 2 dashes, which means we are on the last boundary, we finished. Okay, so that could be fine like that. Then here, all the rest is all the same. Let's try. Maybe I was just naive. I thought I read some official definition of how the multi-part form data thing is organized, and so kind of a grammar or something, instructions for developers to parse it. But maybe I got that wrong, and you see, apart from talking a lot, it took 5 seconds to set up a test. So let's test it. This is me not able to write code. Being not able to write code. Boundary, yeah. Boundary string, you mean. Stupid me. String starts with, expects exactly 2 arguments, 1 given. What do you need? Yeah, the string that it has to check. String starts with, again, which one is the first and which one is the other? I think first goes the, yeah, high stack and then the needle. So string starts with which string? Line starts with what boundary string? Maybe this time. Base graphics from, no, the error is still there. Let's see. Wait, I have some reserves about the fact that parsed boundary string this thing didn't work, not even an inch in the direction I wanted it to work. So we have to parse boundary string WebKit. Yeah, the first 2. Okay. Maybe we have it. Let's say if string starts with line the dash dot boundary string, that should be it. Yes! We actually fixed it! That was the problem! How's that? That quote. This part of my life is happiness. This part of my life, this little part, is called happiness. This is me now. Perfect. Okay. Look at it. It worked. And I don't have to re-implement it by that other method that ChatGPT suggested the other day, which was ugly, because let's see if I can get my conversation with ChatGPT back, but don't think so, because I wasn't logged. Yeah. It suggested to do the same thing, but using parsing the input stream all at once instead of line by line. And I'm not a fan of that, actually, because I mean, not even line by line is the best method. let me fire up Krita and I will show you what I mean, because now that we've fixed it in less than an hour, we have some time to do some educational stuff, and then we will get back to programming, because the journey didn't end here. Oh, I thought I saw a follow before, and there's actually one. There's my friend Gibra. Thank you for the kind follow. Here you can see all my art attempts, but that's not what we are gonna talk about today. Let's create this picture here. I'm wiring up the tablet here, the pen, because if not, I'd be like a monkey with a mouse. That's not what you want to see. I'll be like a monkey with a mouse even in this situation, because there's some input lag and it makes me uncomfortable, but this is what we have and we'll have to make it work. So the problem is this. Oh god, yeah, I forgot. What? Oh, I see. Let's see if I can fix this. It was the tablet here is mapping to both the screens, and the screen area should be just the second monitor. No, that's the first monitor, the second monitor, which is called monitor 1, but for proportions, yeah, perfect. Now it will be better. Yeah, much better. That was also one of the issues the last time, probably. So your request is just a stream of bytes, so we can represent it like this. Look, let's say god, let's say it's just, my god, that's much better than last time. I will get it right at some point. It's a stream of bytes. You have byte number 0 if you want, and then you will have byte number n. Okay, and here in the middle you have other bytes. It's a string if you want, a string of bytes. In fact, PHP treats strings as strings of bytes. That's why you saw me use some MB string length before, because this stands for multi-byte, because the regular string length will just tell you how many bytes this thing is long, but this thing could contain some UTF-8 character that takes 4 bytes, so these 4 bytes are a character. Also, you can see this happen even in the editor, because on some random line like this one, which is strange enough to me. No, maybe that's because of the, yeah, that's because of the represent. Okay, so it's not that, but kind of. This character here is a tab. It's 1 byte. It's taking 4 places. So here Vim is telling you, look, you have 57 characters, but they are actually wide 66 positions they're rendered as 66 characters in a monotype font, because every single tab is rendered as 4 spaces, 4 columns. It's 66 columns. Okay, this is not the case here. Here we're talking about the internal representation in the memory of the computer of the character. If you have some, I don't know, Chinese character or something, I'm not able to write ideograms, it would take more than 1 byte, because the 1 byte representation of characters was made by Americans. It's the ASCII representation, and that's not enough to represent all the characters in the world. So you have UTF-8, and UTF-8 might have characters that are multi-byte. So if you want to count the characters in a string in PHP, you have to use multi-byte string length. If you want to compare, no, maybe compare not, because that's not the case. But there are other multi-byte implementations of some functions. The thing is that this thing is treated as a stream because let's say you have your PHP process, okay, that's here, he is happy, he or she, depending on how you feel. It's kind of orangey and it's smiling. And it's handling strings. This thing here takes some space in the random access memory in your computer. Namely, the limit is set in the php.ini file, and it's 128 megabytes by default. You could make it larger than that, but let's say we stick to this, and we stuck to this actually. If you try to handle a string that's too long or even bigger than this size here, you'll get into trouble, because you will eat up all the RAM that it's at your disposal. So you don't want that. These files here that we are getting from the post request or put request, okay, so let's say we send the file, a little icon of the file with the post or put request, okay, to our PHP process, are actually pretty easy to handle, even in one big chunk, because we said that we set the limit to 16 megabytes. It was 8 megabytes before, so it's way less than 128. There's some part of the 128 that's eaten up by the PHP process itself, because it needs some stuff to live. It has a runtime, so it's not free. It's not that those 128 megabytes are all up for grabs for you. But 8, it's proven that they're fine, okay? We tried it, and we saw that it's not breaking. Even more so because all the thing we are doing with parsing the files and stuff is happening at the beginning of the script. As I told you, look at this. The page is here, and we're calling preprocessor here. Nothing happened. I mean, something happened. We required something, so there's some stuff, some bytecode that PHP imported from this file here, that which might have imported some other files. So there is some stuff that's being carried inside the process, okay? And also there are some constants that are created from this script. This one also may have created some how do you call it, index table, to be able to find these classes here for the moment you have to load them. While require once does the require once, in that moment it runs the code inside display case.h.php the moment you call it. These guys here are just telling the PHP process, I might need this class. So if it's not able to find it, it will break, but it will break the moment it tries down in the code to execute it. It won't go and execute the content of quantity widget, read if you prefer the content of quantity widget, until we get to the point where it's needed. So there's a kind of lazy loading. It's more efficient in that way, but I'm kind of sailing away from here, because I really don't like the fact that this kind of stuff forces you either to use classes, and when you use classes you have to have one class for file, and that's not something I like pretty much, or have namespaces, but I don't know, I will maybe explore namespaces again, maybe live if you want, just to see if they're better than what I found, but I didn't enjoy them very much. They were putting some limitation upon me that I didn't want to, so I'm going back to the old school way of requiring files. I don't care about the performance hit of reading the file right away. If I start caring because maybe a file is very big, I will just split the file in smaller chunks, which is exactly kind of the only reason you would have your program divided in chunks, but I'm digressing. So preprocessor is called very at the beginning of the script, so there's plenty of RAM at disposal, and also you don't fix problems that you don't have, so there's enough random access memory for us. So in theory we could go and just retrieve the entire stream of bytes from this guy here, php :/input, which is the input stream for our PHP process here, the smiley guy, and then I don't know, call PHP function primitives to, I say primitives because they're implemented in C inside the interpreter, to split the string instead of relying on that fgets. I write it down because I know my English is not that good, so you may misunderstand what I'm saying. Fgets is the function derived by the C function to get one line from the string. Getting one line is in no situation, it doesn't guarantee you that the line is small, because the binary part, I mean, we saw that we have here at the beginning of the stream one line with the boundary, okay, which is where is it? Where is it? No. This one. Not these. This will be, I don't know, 100 characters. What is it? 400 bytes. It's nothing. Okay. So you call fgets and it gets you a string of 400 bytes. Pretty small. Then another, this might be twice the first one, so let's say 800, 1000, 1 kilobyte, okay? Then this one is even shorter, it's let's say 20, 30 characters. It's all ASCII so far, so 1 byte, 1 character, 30 bytes. Then the binary data comes. The binary data is not meant to be human readable. You saw it. The file is, where is it? Here. It's this when you turn it into characters. It's terrible. Okay. There's some part of it that might be human readable. You can see it here. Metadata actually, which is on the at the end of the file actually. So from some point on, it's metadata, and then okay, no, and then there's a huge hole, and then again blah, 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 binary data. But one of these lines can be very long. You see, look at this. Look at this one. This one is it's 885 characters long, We are at 2% of the file, actually. That's absurd. And you might find even longer lines. Here we have one of 1059 characters, 1205. This is short. So you get the gist. This is it. And new lines are totally random, because this data here is not meant to be read as text. They're pixels. I mean, this is a JPEG, so it's kind of compressed, and you have to uncompress it to be able to represent it on a screen. But if this file would have been a bitmap, you would have had something like, I don't know, 1 byte for red, 1 byte for green, 1 byte for blue, 1 byte for alpha. It's 4 bytes, and we go again. 1 byte for red, 1 byte for green. And it's an array made like that. So you would have had 1, 2, 3, 4 bytes, red, green, blue, alpha, or maybe blue, green, red. I don't know. I remember that Windows does actually invert those in their order, so that when you read them from a debugger, they are in the right order, because the endianness wants them the other way around, and the developers at Microsoft decided that that was the way to go. So, well, in the files it might even be like this. I'm not sure. Don't take this for sure, because I'm not an expert of how the files are formatted. I think a bitmap is like that, because I remember having to invert them to feed Windows. So it should be something like this in your bitmap. This is 1 pixel in a bitmap. Then you have another pixel, okay, which will be red, green, blue, alpha, all again. Notice that this is 1 byte, so it will contain 8 binary numbers that will make a number, an integer in a decimal representation from 0 to 255. So 255 means very red, 0 means no red. If all 3 of these are 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, we are getting white. If this is also 255, so it's completely opaque. If all 3 of those are 0, we're getting black, okay? No one says that in this stream of bytes there must be this, which are 2 characters that are this is an R, by the way, R, okay, which are encoded like this. /R, why am I doing this? /R ASCII encoding. What? Why is it sending me to Stack Overflow? Because I said /R. Well, yeah, that was because of that. Okay, sorry. ASCII table. Easier to go this way. No, I don't want this website. I want Wikipedia or something like that. Wikipedia. I swear I was more capable of finding stuff on the internet when I was 10 years old. Search engines have become so worse. Is there an ASCII chart I'm comfortable with? Carriage return. Early symbols. CR. I must look for CR. Where is CR? Here. Carriage return. Should be 13. I'm not sure how to read this guy here. No, carriage return 13. It's 13. It's 7 bits, so 0, 0, 0, and then 1, 1, 0, 1 should be right. If I want to test it, I can show you a way to test it. If you want to be able to go down to this level, even with PHP, which is good if you ask me, because PHP is high levelish, but you can feel that has been written by C programmers, because there's so much C-ish stuff in it. The coffee is not hot anymore, but it's finished, so whatever. Let's say I create just a character encoding test PHP. This is just me going on autopilot, and we can do bin to hex. This should print A, B, C, a D. Convert binary data into hexadecimal representation. Since we're passing a carriage return, if the carriage return is 13, as we suspect, I mean, we're sure it's 13 because that table says so, but we suspect it's 13. Let's say we suspect it. When we give it as a string inside here, that guy there will be 1 byte long and have half a byte set to 0 and half a byte set to 13. 13 in hexadecimal is D, because it's A for 10, B for 11, C for 12, and D for 13. So I expect bin to hex to convert 0, 13 as half bytes. They have a name, but I don't remember which is it. Name for half a byte, it's nibble. Each nibble will be the first nibble will be converted to 0, because it's 0, and the second one is 13, so will be printed out in hexadecimal as D, so we must get 0D. Let's give it a try. Let's see if docker exec -it resulto www bash. We move back one folder. We have the file here. Where is it? Character encoding test. So character encoding test. Yeah, maybe if I print a new line at the end, it's better. And it's 0D. So it's actually 13. There's plenty of chances that you get a 13 somewhere in the binary data. Because let's say you have where is it? You have a pixel where the red is 13 or 13 plus whatever is in the first nibble, you just got a carriage return. If you want to interpret that nibble, that byte, that way, inside your bitmap file. The same goes if you have a new line and a carriage return, or a carriage return and a new line. Carriage return and new line, or two dashes. Let's say two dashes. A dash is where is it? I don't see it. This one is an underscore, if you ask me. Dot slash. Let's see if it's an underscore. Here you see that the underscore in the second nibble will have 13, so it's a D. But in the first nibble, it's 010, so it's a 2. So hexadecimal will be 2D. We can reuse the same test we had here and say say underscore. Let's see if it's underscore or dash. I say underscore. No, the underscore is here, so this is a dash. The dash is 2D. Character encoding test. 2D. Yeah, perfect. The underscore is actually 5, and then 15 is F, 5F. So underscore 5F. Perfect. You see, there's nothing wrong. It might happen in the image file that you have two dashes on a row, because two dashes just means 2D to D, which means first byte 0010 and second byte 1101, which converts into a decimal number, a whopping number of this is actually 13, but this is 2 to the 5th, 2 to the 6th, 2 to the 6th is 32. Might be 32. If I say 32 plus 13 is 45, so it can be 45. It might have yeah, but because 0, then here you have 16 plus 0 and stuff, 32 plus and here you have 13, so yeah, that's it. For 45, you just find 2 pixels where 45 is we can, let's test it. I have fun doing this kind of stuff. Let's say we have an image of 1 pixel by 1. We create the image. God. And let's say we go to the RGB alpha integer, yeah, color name. We just said 2D and 2 and D. The color is this, and we put it here, and we say export this file as a bitmap file. Bitmap, not here, maybe. Would be better if we export it somewhere around here. All supported formats. Well, a test 1 pixel dot bmp. Saving as an image in a Windows BMP will lose information from your image. Only the flattened image will say, yeah, I don't care. I know. I don't expect anything less. So if we now open that image, let's say we open it right here, and it's test 1 pixel. What's this? Where's my pixel? Windows. There should be somewhere 2 dashes in a row. I didn't mean to dive into this, but I'm enjoying this, so I will do it. I don't care. Windows bitmap format. I want to know what I'm looking at. Oh God, what did I do to color table? Ah, there's a color table. So it's not encoded the way I expected it to be. Okay, it's much more complicated than I expected, because there might be compression. Can I have a very basic bitmap file? Very here is the moment where I will talk to this guy here, which the last time didn't fulfill us, but is there a way to have raw pixels saved in a bitmap file? Like, I open the bitmap file as if it was a regular text file, and I can recognize the bytes that make up a single pixel in their ASCII form. Let's say I have a pixel with R set to what did we say? What did we say? 42. What was it? 53. 2D was where's the I turned off the calculator. It was 32 plus 13, so it's 45 actually. 45. G equals 45, B equals 0, and alpha equals 255. And well, it should display everything like an ASCII file. But maybe okay, maybe I know what's the problem here. The you see, even asking questions often makes you think harder to the problem, and then you just find a solution automatically. And that's why programmers should use this guy here. It's called rubber duck debugging. You just put it on your table and talk to her or him, and the solution comes up by itself. Emerges from the darkness of your mind. The text editor has no way of determining the character encoding of the file you're trying to read, because there's no file encoding written in the file, not even in the text files. So it's just taking a guess. It's guessing what it's seeing, and we could try to force the encoding to ASCII here to be able to see the pixel. I still don't I understand why this file is already kind of 60 bytes, even if it's just 1 pixel, because if you go well, better than the Krita file, that would be 80 kilobytes, but the Krita file also has layers and stuff. So if we go here and check for the size of this image is 58 bytes, we have is confirmed. So these are the 58 bytes, which are represented on many columns, because I'm guessing those bytes are not ASCII bytes. They don't start with a 0. This starts with a 0, this starts with a 0, this and this and this start with a 0. So they are recognized. All these others are strange. So maybe we are just using the wrong tool. Also, I'm still not sure there's the raw pixel represented anywhere. So let's go and ask it. The question we were asking. Let's say I have a pixel with R45, G45, B0, and A255. Actually, yeah, 255. And so I'd expect to see those represented in Vim as 2D 00FF. Why am getting so much more gibberish and no such sequence in a Windows bitmap file? I know bitmaps are more complicated than that, but I'd still expect the color to be stored somewhere in the file. Stay logged out. You're absolutely right that the bitmap files store raw pixel data, but there are a few important reasons why you see gibberish when opening a bitmap file in Vim and not clean, obvious ASCII sequences like the. Let's break down what's going on. Why you don't see pixel colors clearly in a bitmap file? The beginning of a bitmap file contains metadata headers about the image, file size, width, height, color, depth, compression method, etc. This is not pixel data, so it will look like nonsense or semi-structured gibberish in a hex text editor. There are typically two headers: bitmap file header 14 bytes and then bitmap info header 40 bytes. So the first 54 bytes are not pixel data, which makes sense because our file is 58 bytes long. 58 bytes. So just the last 4 bytes are our pixel. The rest that comes before are headers. Pixel data is not stored as ASCII. When you say blah, you're referring to the hexadecimal representation of the binary values for RGBA. Yeah, I'm aware of that. But these bytes are stored as raw binary. Oh, right. Right. I can't see the hexadecimal. It's different than that. I'm stupid. We don't represent nibbles in bytes. We represent full bytes in bytes. So that would actually this is me streaming. We said 2 and D, right? Which is 45, which it's this one. Yeah, I have to see this, not 2D. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's what I expected. I just wrote the wrong thing. But this bytes a stored in raw binary. If you open the file in hex mode, the rows are padded. Each row in a bitmap file is padded to a multiple of 4 bytes. Yeah, but we already saw that it's 4 bytes actually. So the last 4 bytes, so the last 4 characters here should be red, green, blue, and alpha. Why are they not that? Oh, okay. XXD. So let's say guy XXD command, which I didn't. Hex dump also Unix systems. Test 1 pixel bitmap. Nice. Okay. Which is also what I expected from a debugger today. Yeah, okay, I'm learning stuff, you see. BM column dots WW3 and another dot, and this is the 57 3300. What's this? Let me think. It's hexadecimal, so these are two bytes and these are 2 bytes, right? Is it true or isn't it? Skip the first 54 bytes or read the actual header to know the offset to pixel data. Make sure your bitmap is saved in 32-bit uncompressed format with alpha channel. Not all bitmaps use the alpha. Yeah, be aware of the BGR. You see, blue, green, red, alpha ordering. You may need to look for 002D to DFF. Okay. Maybe we didn't save the bitmap the way it was supposed to be exported. So let's export to bitmap. Yeah. Will it ask anything? No. Well, this is not. Is there any export advanced bitmap save? Yes. Width, height, filter, print size. This is data that goes into the headers. Constraint proportions, adjust print size separately. No control about how to save. I mean, 55 is 57, sorry. It's pretty strange. There's something unexpected here because here we have 00 to D, right? 0, 45, 45. That's what we expect. And there is no such sequence here. Use raw pixel dump files. Use image tools like these guys here to save or extract raw pixel data. This could be the reason why we are not saving it the way it should. Hex dump minus C. I want to see if the result is the same if I do hex dump minus C on test 1 pixel. Yes, it's the very same. So what I'm guessing here is that the file has the wrong encoding. RGB alpha 8-bit integer channel. Did we pick our terrible profile? Let's say Krita RGBA 32 bits. 32, right? Because the 32 bits is 4 bytes, so the padding should put you on 4 bytes. So yeah, 32 bits. Profile to save bitmaps. Exporting into Windows BMP save format wrong. Yeah, but this is Aseprite, it's not Krita. Why am I watching Aseprite? Yes, God. This is where my ignorance is very evident. This is why I was created the sRGB profile to fit more different colors in this limited amount of values in perceptually regular grading by applying a custom gamma curve sRGB to emulate the standard response curve of old CRT screens. I don't want that. I want a regular 8-bit 4-channel bitmap. How can I achieve that? How to export an old 8-bit 4-channel bitmap on Krita? Which profile is the one I need? Which profile is the one I need? So to make it simple, a color profile is just a file defining a set of colors inside a pure XYZ color cube. These colors, okay, choosing the right workspace profiles. Let's see if there is any hint here. 8-bit integer for channel. RGB built in. Large. sRGB linear. SC RGB linear. Let's try this. Whoa. Nope. They change very much. What if I say 45 and 45? Oh, what did I do? What did I do here? And 0 here. It's a very different color. I get that. File. Linear sounds good to me. That's why I chose it. Linear. Linear sounds very good to me. What the hell did I do? It changed. It changed. Still not in the direction we wanted. I see 6E, 6E, 0A. But it's kind of a fact that the change happened here mostly. So it's clear that the last 4 bytes are our pixel. We just have to find the right profile, I guess. Standard RGB. You see there's a gamma function. So it's not, well, linear should be linear, so translation to integers. Most file formats that use sRGB store 8-bit integers. Usually these are converted from 8 bits by dividing by 255 and converted to 8 bits by multiplying by 255 and rounding. However, some software converts to 8 bits by multiplying by 256 and rounding down. Higher quality software often use dithering when writing so that color banding is hidden. Annex G of the 2003 amendment of the sRGB standard describes an alternative encoding of color values called BG-sRGB that is recommended when the number of bits per channel is 10 or more. In this case, what if we pick 32-bit float for channel? Which doesn't sound right to me, but let's try it. Yeah, no. This will make the file slightly bigger, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it's 60 bytes now. No, the 8-bit for channel was very fine. Eight bit is 1 byte. I expect 1 pixel to occupy 4 bytes. So, and the size tells me that we were not in a wrong position actually, because the issue I have here is with the profile, which probably is converting our number to another number. In fact, if you change profile, you can see that the same color is represented. Okay, not in this case. The same color is represented with different data. Here's the 4 on the red instead of 0. Here you can see that if I put it in built-in, it becomes something entirely different. 74. Let me try to export this one. '73 looks dangerously similar to 74. So we might be up to something, given that there are roundings. Well, with integers, shouldn't be. Really shouldn't be. I'm confused. I wanted this to be very educational and very easy, but I will soon stop and just in case, check it off stream and then tell you next time, because we were talking about something else entirely. Yeah, not getting there. So I will dig down deeper in this and we just go back on track and say that yeah, it's perfectly reasonable that we stumble upon a new line in our binary file, but we have no certainty whatsoever about the line length. We may statistically know that in images, lines are usually on average long that number of bytes, but we could even have an image where all the bytes never contain a new line, or a carriage return a new line. So the moment you use fgets to get a new line, it may be the entire file. And this means that the file, if the file is big enough and you have not 16 megabytes or 8, but much more, because you accepted that people can upload files of 2 gigabytes, I don't know, something like that, and your process here handles just 128 megabytes, it ends up in a crash. So actually you should go for a streaming approach, where you take this thing in chunks inside your program and then process it and then stream it out, like you write to the destination file, but you write on it chunk after chunk, not all in one big bang procedure, and then you close the stream. So ChatGPT said to use file get contents the last time, which is the worst possible for this problem here, because file get contents will read the entire file into a string. fgets is kind of a middle ground, because you say read up to the next new line character, which may or may not be there. If it's not, it's just kind of the same of reading with file get contents. Actually, it's a little bit better, because at least we know that a little bit, very little bit, because could be negligible, the amount of data you don't read, because we know we have the boundary, then a new line, then the headers, and every header is separated by a new line, then we have a new line by itself with a carriage return, actually, so the empty line, and then we have the bytes. So at least some new line we know it's there. But when you read the actual bytes of the picture, those may not contain new lines, so they are kind of approximately as big as the entire content of the input stream. If you're lucky, you have lines that are a little bit shorter. We don't have any of these problems, because, as I said before, our files are small enough. I mean, they are 60 megabytes at most. We could reduce that to 8 megabytes. I still have to determine which is the size that we will have to take into consideration for people to allow people to upload files, graphics to our site, but very, very smaller than 128. So the approach we have will just work fine. It will just read one line here, one line there, one line there, and then at the end recognize the last chunk, which will be the boundary that finishes with 2 dashes, and that's it. The parsing is done. So I don't have to re-implement any of, oh well, let me show you any of these here. We will keep getting line by line and parse it. We could get better by saying that the moment we go into the reading part body mode, which is set to true here, reading part body, which is set to true here, because we recognize that the line, finally the empty line came about, then we end up in this if, and we will keep doing this for each and every line. We may as well say we don't, from now on we don't go with fgets, but we start to ask for a specified number of bytes, so we are pretty sure that the string we are handling is shorter than a certain amount, and we write down with fwrite that content, because fwrite should write without new lines at the end. Oh, sorry, I hit microphone. Let's see, fwrite php, fwrite php. No, this is cpp. I don't want it. I want php. fwrite binary save file write. The string that is to be written. There is no indication that the string must be aligned, that it must end with a new line. It could be data. So we write that to this stream, which is the file we are writing to, the content of a line here. If instead of a line the thing was a regular fixed size byte string, we would be fine. PHP read from stream. Let's see what options. Stream get contents. Stream get contents is pretty identical to file get contents, except it operates on a already open stream resource and returns the remaining contents. And the remaining contents, I don't want that. I want to get line, get filters. Why? Get line up to a given delimiter. Length. Look at this. Look at this. Stream get line. We can. Reading ends when length bytes have been read. When the non-empty string specified by the ending is found. Reading ends when length bytes have been read. Where, comma, when the non-empty string specified by the by ending is found, which is not included in the return value, so it's left outside, or on an end of file, whichever comes first. Perfect. Nearly identical to fgets, except in that it allows end-of-line delimiters other than the standard new line, carriage return, and carriage return plus new line, and does not return the delimiter itself. This is actually very good, because if we go here and instead of using fgets, we decide to go with stream get line. Zero means the default socket chunk size. The maximum number of bytes to read from a handle. Negative values are not supported. Zero means the default socket chunk size, which is 8,192 bytes. I mean, 8 kilobytes could be fine. My issue here is that I'd like to behave differently depending on which state I'm in. So let's say we create a function here, public static function, read from stream, and we will decide which parameters to pass depending on the implementation, but bear with me. Yeah, I know. I just want to finish this thing. I could say if how do we call it? If we are parsing the body, we do line stream get line and stick to put data, which is the stream. Yeah, it's the stream. So stream 0 because we want to. I'm fine with the 8,000 and pennies. Which 8,192 bytes. I'm fine with it. And then no ending when the non-empty string specified by the ending. So if we leave it, it will just pull in 8,192 bytes and put them here, chunk, right? Else the chunk, which I like to, even if it's not needed in PHP, I like specify here. So I'm treating PHP like a normal programming language. Chunk equals, well, in this case it wouldn't be necessary because we have an if and an else, so chunk is either way initialized. Chunk f gets on the stream and return chunk. We will happily ignore that the PHP static analyzer would complain here because string getLine can also return a false, and the same applies for fgets. I'm pretty sure. So here chunk theoretically could be string or false, but yeah, when can that happen? On failure. Is there any chance we have a failure if okay, we are still in a kind of debug phase of development, so we won't care about that because it would slow us down, says the guy that spent 1 hour talking about bitmap formats. So here this becomes line. I stick with line because chunk renaming line everywhere is kind of a I mean, wouldn't be that hard if I was normal, if I were normal and and used an IDE, but still I mean 45 until 174. 45 174, just replace line with chunk. Actually I forgot to do this. Okay, there's no such thing anymore, so I probably did the right thing. So here it's not, it's chunk, while chunk equals self double dash double colon, sorry, 35 double colon read from stream, and we have to tell him if we're parsing the body or not. Reading part body, reading part body. If we're not reading the body part, we're treating we're gonna ask for a line and then ask for a line and then ask for a line because we are trusting the input not to have very long lines. Then when we start reading the body, we go for equal length chunks until the chunk doesn't start with the boundary string. In that case, we should have read a line. Okay, this is trouble, actually. No, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it is, because no one says that look at this. Give me the pen and the tablet here and some black color to paint. So trust you. So let's say we have bytes, 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 bytes. Then we have carriage return, line feed. And then we have this and our boundary. And then again this, okay? And then end of file, right? Which is here. Let's say this was all binary from the beginning, and the first chunk, we have only 2 chunks, it's a very small file. The first chunk finished here, the second starts here, okay, on this point. When I check, get a chunk, this chunk will actually be this long and then also this long and finish here. So it will read the delimiter inside the chunk itself. So what I should do is say, when I read the chunk from the stream, if we are in the because this was working assuming that the chunk was a line, okay. Well, actually there's no harm in using string get line with specifying a delimiter, because if I specify a delimiter, you see that's the lazy me talking, but also the clever me, because being lazy in this situation is fine. Whichever comes first, says here. Okay, so it tries to read 8192 bytes, but if it finds clear carriage return line feed before that limit, it will stop, do whatever it has to do, and then read another chunk. Which means in this situation here, this thing won't go up until here, but it will stop here. It won't read this, which is concerning actually. Which is not good, because I mean, the boundary is on a new line. Is it defined to be on a new line? It worked before, but yeah, it should be on a new line actually. Also, no one says this must be carriage return line feed, even if I believe it will be. Okay. How do I avoid losing the new line? That's the part, because you see, is nearly identical to fgets, except in that it allows end of line delimiters other than the standard blah blah, and does not return the delimiter itself, and that's something I don't like very much, because I should be able somehow to determine, well, it's easy. I can just query, check the length. Query is not the right word. I should check the length of the string, and if it's 8192, I don't have to concatenate a new line, but if it's less, I have to. But again, that means counting the length of line, which is a waste of resources. I don't know if PHP keeps such data in the data structure for the string, or if it's like C, where you have to count the length of the string if the string is if you don't have it. I mean, you have to loop through the string until you find a string terminator, which is a 0 character. But that sounds a little bit complicated to me. I don't like it very much. So probably I'd rather check if this every time if the chunk contains the delimiter. If the chunk contains the delimiter, we split the chunk, we write the first part, and then we go in and then we stop actually. So there's that change to be done, because if look, if reading part headers, if reading part body equals to true, okay, so we could go like this. If this so we could have just this if and this if, and that would become a boolean because it's just either of two states, which is am I reading the body or I'm not reading the body. If I'm not reading the body, I'm gonna retrieve line by line and assume I'm reading headers. The first line, I expect it to be the boundary string, so I'll gets the first line, check everything is fine, that's the boundary string, throw it away, start the while loop, and so it's a do while actually, and read the headers. While reading the headers, I find the carriage return line feed, then I toggle to body reading mode, and in body reading mode every time I check if I could do that. I check if I find the boundary inside the string, but even that is a waste of resources. Do I have the information about the length of the file up front so I can just check if I reached the length or not? Let's see. And that's the last thing I check, and then we will implement it the next time because we are very, very late. Where are we? Here, headers. We have the content type and also the content length. That's good, because with the content length I can continuously increase a counter of bytes that I consumed, and when I know that I'm near to the end, I'm towards the end, I'm just able to truncate the string, the last chunk. I have a counter. I know that when I'm here, I know that if I pick the next chunk, it will be shorter than 81. Sorry, I don't know why I'm doing this. 8129 bytes. And also, I know the length of the delimiter because I have the delimiter in this variable, delimiter, and I can just do strlen once and know how long it is, and then I just sum 4 because we have this at the beginning of the delimiter and this at the end, and we already check that this thing here is ASCII, so it's 4 bytes in total. So it's string length of this guy plus 4. That's the length we have to leave at the end. The last chunk comes in, I check the length of the chunk, I subtract the sum of this plus this, take the bytes, dump them inside the wait, let me delete this because no, before I forget. Okay, dump them in the file with where is it? I can't find it. Where is it? F right and stop. Just break or set a flag and then go out from the loop, and then I will just F close and put the data. So that would be a little bit better than simply getting the data all the time with fgets. Next time we'll do this and just move on with the development. Thank you very much for watching this. If you're watching this in past broadcast, this time I fixed the what's it called, bitrate. It was too much, and now it's green and it's saying excellent, and so I'm very happy because I don't have any problems with on the technical side with the stream. So if you like this stream, if you're seeing it on YouTube, I'm gonna re-upload the streams now on YouTube. You can find me on Twitch. I'm streaming. There's the programming on Twitch, but I'm streaming on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday and Wednesday, it's 9 p.m., 9:30 p.m. Central European time. Friday, it's still indicating 6 p.m. I could move it forward. I could keep the 6 p.m. I'm planning to try to move the time to 7 a.m. but it's not still doable because of work. Actually, I could on Monday and Wednesday and Friday. So let's see. I will keep you updated. Just check the programming. I will update it before streaming, way before, so you can trust it. I'm trying to reach Streamlabs and change the scene. So see you next time. Bye.